why your digital art looks like slop, and how to fix it. So ever since I started doing digital art centuries ago, there was one thing that I struggled with more than any other. Was it line art? Was it choosing the right colors? Was it which brushes to use? Nope. It was none of those things. Let's see if you can guess what it was. Here's a time lapse of me absolutely wrecking my own painting on purpose. Can you spot what's going wrong here? The problem here is sloppy over-rendering, where everything becomes like mashed potato being pushed around. Form is lost, colors get muddy, and time is wasted. That's what we're going to be tackling in today's video. If you don't want your art to look like slop, then you need to learn about something called edge control. What the heck is that? Well, in the simplest terms, edge control is how you handle the transition from one color, value, or surface to another. Why is this so important? Because that's literally all that rendering boils down to, how you handle the edges of different transitions. So it'll help to break up those transitions into 3 different categories: hard edges, soft edges, and lost edges. Let's kick things off with hard edges first. Hard edges occur when there is a sudden shift in a color or value. So an example of this here is when you have 2 distinctly different colors next to each other. I've rendered the transition point between these 2 colors very sparingly in order to maintain that hard edge. Here's another example of a very hard edge. You have the edges where all these planes meet on this 3D cube. There's not really much in the way of rendering or blending when it comes to hard edges. Here's a great example of some hard edge shadows on this lady's face here. The way you would handle this if you were painting it would be to block in the shadow shapes first with a completely hard brush, and then you'd proceed to soften the edges just a little bit so it isn't too sharp. What are hard edges good for? Hard edges are great for establishing structure and drawing the eye of the viewer, for creating a strong separation between forms. Without it, everything starts to look mushy. A good example of the use of hard edges is in the show Arcane. Everyone has quite sharp edges around the eye area. You ever really notice how it draws your attention there and helps sell that 3-dimensional feel? Actually, I'm probably going to be using more examples from Arcane for the other types of edges too. That show is just such a treasure trove of edge variety. Anyways, let's segue into soft edges now. Instead of that hard shift between the colors, we now have a softer edge transition between the blue and red. There's a more noticeable in-between blending of the colors compared to the hard-edged example. Here's an example of a soft edge here on this cylinder shape. It helps soften the form, giving a sense of roundness. You'll want to use this kind of edge when you're showing the softer, more curved parts of the face, like where the cheek rounds out or where the forehead slopes into the brow. It's also super handy when you're painting the nose. Instead of having a sharp, obvious break between the top and bottom planes, you can use a soft edge to show that the form is turning gently. It makes things feel more natural and helps keep the face from looking too flat or overly boxy. Moving on to the third and final edge type, we have lost edges. Here the transition loses its edge entirely and becomes more like a gradient where the 2 colors blend together. Adding a lost edge between this cylinder shape and the background can create a greater sense of depth, with the cylinder receding into the background. This portrait, done by John Singer Sargent, is a great example of this. Notice how parts of the hair simply vanish into the background? These are lost edges. You can use lost edges to give your piece a moody, atmospheric vibe, like things are fading into the shadows or kind of melting into the background. They're also great for balancing out the sharper, hard edges. If everything in your painting is sharp and crisp, it can feel a bit too harsh or overwhelming. Lost edges give the eye a chance to rest, creating smoother transitions and more visual variety. Hey, remember how I said we'd be learning about 3 different edge types? Well, that wasn't entirely true.
Oops.
There's actually a 4th one, known as a found edge. It's a mix of both hard and soft edges. Sometimes, like with certain shadows, you'll see parts that are sharp and defined, while others fade out more gradually. Adding these kinds of edges to your work can make your image feel much more believable and visually engaging. How to control your edges. Alright, so I've given you a brief overview of the different edge types. It's all well and good knowing the names of different edge types, but how do you actually use them? How do you control your edges? Here are some tips that will help you out with that. Tip 1. Don't start off with the airbrush. I'd recommend that you don't start your rendering off with the airbrush. It might seem like an easy way to get smooth shading, but it usually leads to overly soft, mushy results where all the edges blur together and the structure disappears. Instead, start off with a hard edge brush, block in your shapes clearly and confidently. Once that foundation is in place, then you can go in and selectively soften things using the airbrush or smudge tool, if the painting actually needs it. But the key idea here is to preserve some of your hard edges so that things don't devolve into a sloppy mess. Tip 2. Sculpt out your edges. Instead of relying so heavily on the airbrush and smudge tool, I invite you to try sculpting out your edges first with a hard-edged eraser. This gives you a lot more control over your edges and can result in some nice brush stroke details that otherwise would have been lost with too much soft blending. It also helps you to avoid that overly airbrushed plastic look that can sometimes flatten your painting. And hey, this doesn't mean that you have to ditch the airbrush or smudge tool entirely. Those tools are still super useful. But the idea here is to use them later on in the process once you've already got the structure and edges in place. That way, you're softening things selectively, not just turning your entire painting into soup. It's all about knowing when to stay sharp and when to smooth things out. Tip 3. Take advantage of layers. I can't stress enough how useful layers are. Being able to keep different light sources and shadows on separate layers can help keep things much neater and avoid muddying your colors. Take full advantage of the fact that you're working digitally. Layering your shading is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. Instead of trying to render everything all at once on a single layer, try stacking different values and colors on top of each other in a controlled way. Think of it like you're building up your forms gradually, almost like layering transparent sheets of paint. The way I usually go about it is this. I'll start by laying down a solid block of color to establish the general shape or shadow area. Then I'll go in with the eraser, usually a hard edge one, and carefully carve out the form, shaping it until it looks clean and intentional. Once I'm happy with that, I'll create a new layer right above it and repeat the process with a slightly different color or value. This approach gives you a ton of control. If you ever decide that a particular edge feels too harsh or too soft, you can just tweak that one layer without disturbing everything else around it. No more worrying about accidentally ruining the transitions you already spent time finessing. It's a super clean way to work and it keeps your rendering flexible and non-destructive, especially helpful if you like to experiment or change your mind mid-painting. Compare that to doing all your shading on a single layer. At first, it might seem quicker or simpler, but trust me, it becomes a headache really fast. Anytime you want to tweak one specific edge, you suddenly have to tiptoe around everything else nearby. It's like trying to do surgery with a sledgehammer. You make one adjustment and boom, now the edges around it are off. So you fix those, and then something else gets messed up. Before you know it, you're chasing your tail, reworking the same spots over and over. Here I'm doing a study while putting the 3 tips I mentioned into practice. I'm not starting out with the airbrush, instead I'm using a hard brush to lay in strong hard-edged shadows first. Then I sculpt those shadows to my liking with the eraser, refining the shapes and edges. I'm also working on separate layers for different shades, which gives me much more control over my edges and makes adjustments easier. Later on, I'll do a paint over on a layer above everything else, using the airbrush sparingly to soften only where it's needed. Working this way forces you to be more intentional with your rendering. Every edge becomes a conscious decision. Do I want this to be harder or softer? Of course, your personal style will play a big role in how you handle edges. Maybe you prefer a softer, more blended look, a sharper, more graphic style, or something loose and painterly. Whatever your approach, understanding the different edge types gives you the freedom to push your painting style in any direction you want. So to avoid your work becoming a sloppy mess, here's a quick recap. Edge types. Use hard edges for crisp, well-defined transitions. Great for focal points, sharp details, and areas you want to draw the viewer's eye to. Use soft edges for gradual, blended transitions. Perfect for smoother surfaces, subtle form changes, or areas that should feel less intense. Use lost edges where shapes and values blend so much that the edge disappears. Use to create atmosphere, depth, or to push areas into the background. Use found edges for edges that are partly sharp and partly soft. Ideal for adding variety and keeping things from feeling too mechanical. Start with a hard edge brush instead of the airbrush to keep your shapes crisp and avoid mushy shading. Sculpt your edges with a hard eraser before softening so you keep structure and brushstroke detail. And finally, use layers to build up shading and colors cleanly, giving you more control, flexibility, and fewer headaches later on. Alright, I think that's enough for this video. Bye.